You are watching 32 teams in 32 days on the Game Time Sports Network.
What's up?
Great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics? This is Larry Patterson with GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports right here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. Today is Steeler Day. Here we go. We here with JT and Patrick from the Steelers Round podcast. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You know, give them a follow. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself?
Wonderful, Larry. Thanks for having us, man. Great to be on with you. It's Steelers.
Thank you for accepting the invite. And yeah, man, we're ready to talk some Steeler football.
Excited.
Yeah. And I think I just got a message from our partner, the famous TA. If you got room, I think he said he might even be in the green room. So, but yeah, we'll get some interesting commentary regarding the Steelers from our friend TA if he can join.
Yeah, I don't see him in the green room, but if somebody can send him the link, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll forward it to him if he's got time. I thought he was on the road, so sorry to hold you guys up, but anyhow, yeah, if he can get here, might be joining us too to provide always an interesting perspective on things regarding the Steelers. So glad to be here and meet you guys as well too. So
yeah, it's good to see you. Good to meet you. This team, 10-7 in the season, 10-7. They started 6-2, went 4-5 in the last 9 games, losing 4 in a row. Averaged 14 points per game in the last 4 games in the season. Of course, lost to the Ravens 28-14 in the wild card round. This is Mike Tomlin's 19th season that he's entering into the league. Being that you guys watch the Steelers closely, just give you a quick review on how did you feel about the season last year?
Well, I got to say, listening to those stats again, was a little sore, but yeah, I mean, down the stretch is where it kind of all fell apart, and it was tough to watch. I mean, we could have swallowed a little bit had we played better against the Ravens. Could have even gotten the division had they played well against the Ravens. Opportunities missed, and it kind of reminded us of a little bit of hodgepodge of this and a little bit of that. And we weren't sure if the quarterback was allowed to do what he could do or if he was doing what he had to do. So a wide array of thoughts from a Steelers fan's perspective on the year in review, but there were certainly a lot of things that they needed to patch up and certainly a lot of big things. Of course,
I agree with you, man. I mean, Russell Wilson kind of collapsed down the stretch, and that's kind of why we saw such a major change this offseason. Because quarterback, when you don't have the right quarterback, that's where things can go downhill pretty quickly, and that's why you end up only scoring, 14 points a game, you said?
Yeah, 14 points per game in the last 4.
Yeah, that's why we made all these changes, man. We'll get into that.
So I'm used to Russell Wilson, so I'm a Bronco fan. So we had Russell Wilson for those 2 years, and plus seeing Russell Wilson in.
You guys are soft.
I know my Raider guy in the corner. He got the laughs in those years. But seeing Russell Wilson and the way he played, I kind of when I saw you guys getting him for the cheap, I'm like, he can do some things, but I don't think he's going to get you over the hump. Do you think that they went away from Justin Fields a little too soon in the season?
I mean, the last 2 games we saw from him, he was actually pretty struggling. But here's the thing, though. Russ was just as bad in the last 5 games, so they should have gone back to Fields, I think, at the end of the season, possibly.
Well, you know what, guys? I mean, there's a pure example of Tomlin's philosophy, I guess. He anointed him the starter before the season ever began. When several of us on our podcast really were behind Fields, pushing to get him, and we thought he was just a better match as a quarterback in the AFC North against our opponents than would be, an older guy, is, quite limited in the pocket, but, a veteran guy can read defenses and things like that. And it just never seemed to come together all that. And then open, okay, plenty of finger pointing to go around, including the offensive coordinator in his first year. Maybe we're starting to see him have his fingerprints on this team more so than he did last season. I'm not sure. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, Arthur Smith was really struggling to utilize Fields and take advantage of his strengths at times. It felt like, and when he put Russ in, still saw some of the same struggles, and it didn't matter who the quarterback was. The OC still had his issues.
I think in general, too, Steeler fans thought that he was very underutilized. Even and like multiple, both of them being on the field at times to provide some spark or some variation from their standard formations that they set up in all the time. So it was disappointing to see him not getting more play time, or even them maybe give him some shots here and there. But Tomlin's stubborn like that, man, and he'll fall on that sword.
Amon, you got anything to add?
No, man. I think Patrick and JT, they hit it right on the head, man. I thought they should have stayed with Fields a little longer. Coming out the gates, how they did last year. But like JT said, Tomlin, he's set in his ways. He's been like that for 10, 15 plus years, man. He loves his veteran guys, and you're gonna ride with your guy, and they obviously thought Russell was the guy to take him to the playoffs, last year. Obviously they came up short. So yeah, man, I agree with everything these guys said, plus some.
JT, you're always right.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, but I love to look at this team from a higher point of view and not get into the X's and O's so much. We have other guys on our show, TA included, to do more of that too. But I like the eye test to me. So here we are. We're in this quarterback carousel, if you'd like to call it now, since Ben Roethlisberger got injured. Let's be honest. I mean, this all started when he got hurt and had that elbow surgery. And then, we saw Mason and Duck Hodges, and, it's been quite an interesting ride along the way. And Kenny Pickett, we drafted him first-round draft pick. He's been to the Eagles, Steelers, the Eagles, and now where is he? Back in the AFC North again. So it's been an interesting ride, and I think the Steelers are starting to load that next year's draft basket with as much flexibility as they can, hoping that they can pick that next franchise quarterback. I think they're setting up for that. But yet, you see, and I'm sorry to ramble here, but you see the other side of that too. You see them using phrases like all in. Are they all in? Are they doing this? Does that mean they're all in? My God, we're having a hell of a time trying to figure out what this team's going to be even going into the camp. So God knows.
Well, that was my next question, because it seems like you guys are going all in. You're making a whole bunch of moves that we're not used to seeing the Steelers do. If Mike Tomlin doesn't get it done this year, well, let me ask this: is he on the hot seat? How about that?
Hijacker, I'll let you start.
Okay, I'll go for it.
You know where I'm going to go with this.
I know he's going to go off the rails on this one, but let me try to keep it calm for you first. I think Tomlin's, he's what they like. He continues to get them at least 9 wins, and they're fine with that. They just want to. They're stuck in their ways. They're going to keep going with Tomlin because he's going to keep getting to at least 9 wins. They're happy with that. They're fine with that, but I don't think they're going to change it. Plus, he just signed an extension not long ago, so I mean, there's no way they'd probably go out of that, honestly.
10-7
at least this coming season and another one, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 more years at least, I think.
On the current contract.
It took a godsend for them to get out of their OC. Like, it took him a complete disaster. That's what it would take for them to get rid of Tomlin. The Steelers don't get rid of coaches unless it's a complete unmitigated disaster.
Right. Well, there's a lot of the talking heads in Pittsburgh will say that Tomlin, the only way Tomlin leaves the Steelers is when Tomlin wants to leave the Steelers. And I got to admit, most of the signs point to that. But I have a different theory on this, Larry. We were backstage before we came on, and we touched on that, and I couldn't wait to get back to it. But I have a theory on this. So if you look over, and I've heard this from a couple different sources, that Tomlin doesn't like working with young quarterbacks. And it seems like if you look back over, like Kenny Pickett, did he get a good rap here? Or did he get a good chance here? I mean, you look back through, I'm thinking that if I think in this is Tomlin's last season, because I don't think he wants to start with a brand new young franchise quarterback and go with that. I just don't think. I think he likes his veteran guys. So a theory,
Maybe.
But I think after this year, he'll move on.
Well, that is why they brought in Rodgers, because Tomlin wants his veteran quarterback to rely on.
Yeah, there he's got his veteran again.
Once again.
But yeah, man, and some interesting trades. I don't know. What did you guys think about the latest move?
Go ahead, Larry. I'll let you go first, and then I'll chime in on what I thought about it.
Well, the DK trade was a surprise. Meaning you still had George Pickens over there, but it seemed like they were kind of tired of George Pickens as well. So you bring in DK over, and then sign them to the extension. That's not really a Steeler move, because they're usually from within. And then going the Jalen Ramsey route. And what other key additions that they had over the you grab Kenneth Gainwell, which I like that. I like that signing right there. You get Kenneth Gainwell, Malik Harrison on the defensive side of the ball. You did grab a Darnell Parham, but unfortunately he got injured. So I think he's going to be out for the season. You grab your Darius Slay to kind of help with Joey Porter on the back end. Juan Thornhill, Robert Woods, a good blocking wide receiver. So and we'll touch on another wide receiver that I think is going to be a very key going into the season. And you drafted him last year in Roman Wilson. And, of course, he didn't get a chance to, get on the field. I think he got on the field a little bit, but he didn't really make too much of a difference. He got hurt in training camp, and then he came back, got hurt again. I've seen some video on him of him moving, but, of course, that doesn't translate to real game play, situations. So I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think about Roman Wilson coming in and making a difference in his first year?
Well, we're actually pretty high on him still. We think he can be a good wide receiver 3, especially in the slot. That's where he's best at because of his smaller size and what he did best at when he was in college. So he's a guy. But also he has the opportunity because our wide receiver room beyond DK Metcalf is pretty thin, actually.
Yeah. JT?
Yeah. A lot of high hopes on him. Of course, his Michigan days, he lit it up, man. And so, but yeah, perfectly fitted for the slot. I keep recalling, here's another Tomlinism for him. It's pretty hard to get on a moving train.
Yeah.
I think that was his comment when he got pressed about why aren't we seeing Wilson more? So, hopefully he makes some progress in camp. We're still excited to see what he can do. It's another one of those unfortunate early injuries in their career that they get a late start on thing. Speaking of receivers like that they went through, Calvin Austin. Same thing, hurt, didn't have a chance, got all the speed in the world, all the talent in the world, just, injured, comes back, injured again, I mean, that's tough. But historically, if you look back over time, Pittsburgh's done pretty well drafting receivers. Even going back, the early Roethlisberger.
They always do.
Yeah, they've always had pretty good luck, but yet they end up like getting concussed over the middle by an opposing linebacker and never found the bat cave since, and things like that. But they all seem to diva out and move on. course, they knew that. Speaking of, while we're on the receivers with Pickens, they knew they were dealing with that right from the go, but hoping they can control it, and it just never happened. So, we thought we made it through the draft, and there were no moves made then during the draft, and we're like, okay, well, we're going to go with DK and George, and then boom.
Well, yeah, they thought George was a head case. It appears so. Based on the weird timing that they traded him, they had to force him out of the building, it seemed like. And then they swap in Metcalf, who's pretty much the same player. It's just, he doesn't have the, head-scratching decisions during the game that, a guy like Pickens had.
Yeah, the receiver room, to talk about Roman Wilson, as Larry knows, you guys don't know, I'm a big Michigan guy as well. I believe that they're amazing. That them colors for sure. So I know what Roman Wilson's capable of doing. I've seen him, have big games and big moments, especially in the playoff and, playing against Alabama. So he's capable. So wide receiver 3, I think that'll be a great spot for him if he's projected to play there alongside DK. And we'll see what, Calvin Austin, I don't know if he's on the roster still. I believe so. What he can bring. I've seen him kill us on a Sunday night before. Just torch the Raiders secondary. So he's capable of stretching the field. And like you said, JT, the Steelers has always had a good building as far as drafting receivers. I can remember Plaxico Burress, Santonio Holmes, Antoine Randall, Hines Ward, Mike Wallace. You can just go on and on. Then you got AD. It's just. Like with other guests the other day talking about the Packers always having a quarterback that they can depend on, a franchise quarterback. The Steelers is probably one of those franchises that always had a great receiver, no matter who's the quarterback, who's the head coach, man. So for you guys to, move on from AB and then you go get, you get Pickens and then you go get DK. That's impressive, man. And the receivers, they always develop. They always develop and be one of the top receivers in the league. So I think that's very impressive by the wide receiver coach.
Deontay moved on.
That's another one. Yeah. He's been around a couple stops now, but you guys have always had great receivers that produced at a high level in the league for sure.
Well, here's another guy. Speaking, we'll not get too nostalgic here and eat up a bunch of time, but Martavis Bryant.
Well, Kate and I are going to go spot deer for.
I'm familiar with that guy.
All right.
Man, he was fantastic. Watched him in camp. He runs circles around the DBs, man. I mean, he was phenomenal. He just got in trouble. And didn't have his head on right. But what an athlete, man. I think he had better tools than AB even. It was just so skilled. So, but yeah, we're doing well there. But there you go. We thought we had, we got receiver 1, receiver 2. Wait a minute. Receiver 1 is gone, but receiver 2 is now in receiver 1. So we're back there. And still waiting on that quarterback thing to happen. Thank God that finally got settled. Yep. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, well, I guess I'll play for the Steelers one more year.
From it.
Yeah. So not that kind of level of excitement here in Pittsburgh regarding my man. God bless him, but just go out there. I hope he takes control of the offense himself, to be honest with you. And I hope he turns his headset off and said, hell with it. We're just going to run what I see because he can do it when he's got the tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
And Amon, you touched on it with the Steelers, and they always drafting pretty well. Not only drafting good pass catchers, but guys that do the dirty work, the blocking. And DK Metcalf is another one. Another pass catcher that you guys got, Jonnu Smith, that you traded for to go along with Pat Freiermuth. I like that the trade there. What's your thoughts on Jonnu Smith entering this tight end room?
Well, very excited actually because he's known Arthur Smith. We know he fits in Arthur Smith's offense, so he should be a really good fit. But what I really like most about him is his ability to catch balls underneath and take them, 10 yards on early downs. He's going to complement nicely alongside Pat Freiermuth, and that'll give us a ton of weapons to choose from, even if we have not as many good wide receivers or unproven, more so wide receivers.
Yeah, and each of our current guys, I mean, not taking anything away from them, but Freiermuth, he's a great blocker and he's a good possession kind of guy. He's not that yak kind of guy that's going to blow you away. He may power through a couple tackles to get to the end zone, but he's not going to break away. Whereas Jonnu is, I mean, so much more versatile. And it seems like each tight end in the Steelers tight end room has their own unique talents. Like they got Mount Washington, who's a beast. I mean, you just put him out there, and he's got okay hands too. And you've got Connor Haywood, who can also line up in the backfield or play fullback. So, I mean, I could see Arthur Smith building a better offense around what his plan was through all that.
Yeah, very exciting to see what he does with all these weapons.
He's got a few.
Yeah, definitely.
Got a few. And Aaron Rodgers, he'll hold them to task. They better run the right routes, and he's going to hold them to task, but he'll be able to hit that. The Steelers were reluctant to throw over the middle last year a lot, Larry. And we even think after the Cincinnati game, they did that a lot, and they moved the ball in chunks. But yet when they played him at the end of the year, for some reason, they held him back from doing the same thing that they absolutely walked up and down the field on the last time. And it was that conservative approach. Tomlin not wanting to throw over the middle. He doesn't live in his fears, but he certainly doesn't, approach that kind of aspect over the middle of the field.
Russell Wilson is not a quarterback to throw it over the middle of the field anyway. So.
No,
he hated to.
Probably why he was so excited to get him too. And we were too, no doubt. I mean, then when they announced Fields too, I mean, wow, it was like, holy cow, we got to have a good quarterback room now, one way or the other.
Yeah, whether it was Fields or Ross, both guys went outside the numbers. They kind of avoided the middle of the field, which I'm hoping Rodgers will do actually.
Are you guys excited about the Aaron Rodgers era with the 1 year rental? 38.97 on the yards last year, 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I mean, you could argue with the offensive line situation that they were going through last year, that could be a weakness on that team. But now Pittsburgh's got a line that you've been growing over the years. Last year you drafted a Zach Frazier and a Mason McCormick. And Troy Fautanu, and then Broderick Jones, you drafted a couple of years ago. And then with the Isaac Samala, who's going into his second year there, I believe no, he wasn't injured. It was Troy Fautanu, but
Fautanu
was Fautanu. And then you have some depth back there with. I know they're just names at this point with Matt Sharping and Calvin Anderson, but if one of those guys go down, like those are veterans that you can put in there for like, a couple snaps or a game and be able to try to hold the fort down until one of those other guys get back. How do you feel about the offensive trenches with this offensive line? Do you feel like there's some hope there with Aaron Rodgers coming in?
Well, depth-wise, we actually talked about this in the last show where our swing tackle situation could be a little bit better, especially with Fautanu coming off an injury, but our interior depth is actually much better. It's actually pretty good. If one of our interior guys goes down, we'll be fine. But it's like you said, Rodgers needs a good O-line behind him because at this stage of his career, he's 41. I mean, he isn't as mobile as what he used to be. He's a sitting duck back there sometimes.
Yeah. So
you need good O-line protection. Give him time to find his playmaker. So hopefully no injuries this year.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in on this one. And I know JT and Patrick, y'all can comment if you disagree with me. Broderick Jones, I think was a first round pick a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for him to be that tackle that the Steelers always have had or had a decent offensive tackle. You want to keep Aaron Rodgers upright, and you want to protect his blind side. And we all four of us know here, if you don't have a decent left tackle in the league that can protect the quarterback's blind side, you don't have a chance at all. He's not going to have no time to make his progressions and get the ball to where it needs to go, get to these weapons. Broderick Jones, I'm definitely looking for him to, take another step. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did watch a game of the Steelers last year. Was he prone to penalties? I know it was one game to where he had it was like multiple false starts, and I'm sitting there like, dude, what is going on? Is that correct? Help me out right quick.
You were exactly correct.
I think that was early in the season.
Right, yeah.
This was the elbow thing. This was like post elbow thing. I mean, we talked about that. There was a discussion, and it was disclosed that he was nursing an elbow injury, but all that stuff seemed to happen around that time. And it's like, boy, they had his number, and they just any chance they got. Because he was struggling. He was struggling in pass protection. I mean, early on, on the right side, he was a great run blocker, but after this injury, I thought he must have had a lot of arm strength loss through this injury, that he wasn't able to create any separation. But he did struggle, and you are absolutely correct. And I think it was more injury related than they want to let on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But,
okay.
Now they're moving him back to left.
Okay.
And then moving Faltano back to right, which was left was Broderick Jones's original position, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they're optimistic he can do better now that he's back at his home. This is the position he played in college because the right tackle wasn't working. Some tackles are like that. I don't know what it is, but some guys can only play the left side. Our most recent free agency, Dan Moore, can only play the left side, so it's not uncommon.
It's like batting left-handed when you're a righty.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one more guy for me, Troy Fautanu. I was very, very, very high on Troy Fautanu when he came out a couple drafts ago. When we were sitting there, I forgot what pick we were, maybe 11, 12, somewhere in the upper half of the draft. I was like, Vegas, go get Fautanu. He's a great tackle. And I know his rookie season got derailed by injuries. I think it was a knee, if I'm not mistaken. Help me if I'm wrong. I'm looking for him to solidify that right tackle spot this year. And if you guys can definitely get those two spots, secure or at least halfway up and running, I think you guys have been in good shape. But I do have a question for you guys, though. How do you feel about losing James Daniels? Because he's fairly young. How old is James Daniels? Like, what, 26, 27?
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about losing James Daniels? Because, a couple of Steelers fans that I know, they love James Daniels in Pittsburgh. I just don't know how you guys felt about it, being close to the situation.
Yeah, I loved when they brought him in too. And, very few times did you hear his name called, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing.
Right, absolutely.
He would just silently do his job. He was a solid veteran guy in there. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to lose guys like that. I don't know if that was just a pure money business decision on that. I'm not sure. I mean, there was a lot of flux in this year's roster regarding free agency and stuff. And so, man, it was a lot of moving pieces and a lot to keep track of. Lost track of that too. But sorely missed. Solid.
Yeah, we'll miss him. But here's the thing, though. Mason McCormick, who filled in for him for most of the year, looked really promising. So I think they just went with the younger guy, honestly, and cheaper as well.
Mm-hmm. Staying young. And then Zach Frazier, stepped right in to the starting role, pretty much never looked back until he had to nurse an injury for a game or two. He's heads and tails. I mean, he's the man. He's the man now, and rightly so. I'm so excited when they picked him, man. Mm-hmm. Just, former wrestler, just a nitty-gritty guy, man. Hard worker. So, yeah. It's kind of an experiment. It's a little in flux, but we'll see how that plays out in camp.
That's what I mean. Our interior offensive line set out to be really good. It's just our tackles are the main question mark going to the year.
Yeah. How are they going to pan out in this new role? And, could they solidify it? Hopefully the offense is structured so that we can just do. I wouldn't mind seeing a dink and dunk type of offense, with some runs and some different play actions built into it. I mean, I'd be okay with that as long as we're moving the ball and running clock, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Going to the other side of the ball, starting with the up front, you drafted a Derek Harmon in the first, I believe. Keanu Benton, 2 sacks in the last 2 years, and he's played every game. Has he been a little bit of a disappointment for you guys, Keanu Benton?
So year one, he had a very exciting rookie year, but this year, kind of a sophomore slump. He's been at nose tackle, so he's kind of faced a lot of double teams. He hasn't really been able to pass rush as much as you would like.
Yeah, I agree 100%. He was,
Yeah, but Derek Harmon, he's the reason why we drafted him, because we need that pass rusher, and that's what Derek Harmon did really well coming out of college. He was one of the best interior defensive linemen at rushing the passer.
Right. As well as solidify the the tackling, stop the running game. We did not fare so well. Of course, look who we were playing against, but nonetheless, I mean, this high octane, high price defense just ran out of gas, man. And we faced some pretty serious opponents. Yeah, you put Henry and Lamar Jackson back there, to a double threat. Whew, it was tough. So they needed to solidify the middle of the line on the defensive side. I love that Harmon pick, man. Love that pick.
I think Yaya Black, who y'all got later on in the draft, I think he's going to be, he's already played in black and yellow. I think he's going to be a key addition to that line as well.
Yeah, another Big Ten draft.
Yeah,
Amon. Yeah, Ohio State, Iowa.
Yeah, really exciting. He's a really good run defender.
So we I think we touched on TJ Watt. I don't know if it was before the show, but we touched on TJ Watt, hoping that he'll get some type of deal going. Nick Herbig. I was so excited about Nick Herbig when y'all drafted him a couple years ago, and he had 5.5 sacks last year, and I think he can only get better.
Absolutely, and you know what? He got a lot bigger from his rookie year to last year, and I'm looking forward. And that's what he needed, a little bit more size on him, but yeah, the motor on the dude, and as his role increases, yeah, we can't be more excited about him. Another Big Ten player I've had.
Yeah, he was a forced fumble machine out there. He was actually playing really well. There were some weeks where you couldn't even notice that Highsmith or Watt were out because he's filling in admirably for them. But he isn't a replacement for Watt. I think Watt's going to stick around. Like, I'd be surprised if they even think about trading him. I don't think they will. He's going to get paid. It's just a matter of what number it's going to end up at.
Yeah, and Highsmith's signed, so he's not going anywhere. But it just gives us some added depth at that outside linebacker position and inside too.
Signing Malik Harrison in the offseason. Peyton Wilson was big for you guys last year. And then you drafted Jack Sawyer this offseason as well. Going to the secondary, Darius Slay coming in on that 1 year rental to help out Joey Porter. And then Jalen Ramsey. How do you guys feel about Jalen Ramsey and the different ways that you can scheme him up and create some all kind of stuff over there? What you guys think about Jalen Ramsey?
Oh, that is an interesting combination of packages that they can work with over there. It'll be interesting to see how they go, but there's certainly some excitement there. I think those moves solidified the backfield. We don't have that true shut down corner on the other side, but we've got a lot of other flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey has that versatility you're very excited about, but when you look at the cornerback trio we're going to have with Darius Slay and JPJ on the outside, and then Jalen Ramsey in the slot, it should be one of the better cornerback trios in the NFL. Very exciting to have it.
Yeah, losing. I know Jalen Ramsey came over, but Miami gets Minka back in the deal. So how do you guys feel about losing Minka, going back to where he got drafted? a handful of years ago.
It all circles back somehow, but sucks to lose him. I mean, he was a good player for us for several years, but unfortunately, the last 2 years he was dealing with injuries and his coverage slipped a little, and there wasn't as many splash plays. So I guess they just were saying, well, we're going to swap you for another star who we think can get just as many splash plays than Jalen Ramsey. So we'll still have that star in the secondary. It just won't be Mink anymore. And our new guy will be Juan Thornhill, possibly, who, I mean, you're hoping can get back to what he was with the Chiefs, where he was a good, solid free safety, but he'll be our weak link now.
Got championship experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tough to lose him. Tough to lose a Pro Bowler, and our first round pick, so to speak. But yeah, and the question was, it wasn't a lack of talent. It was probably more so a lack of how they used him. There was, I think, in most Steelers' minds, there was underperformance, not a lot of splash. Those interceptions weren't there. He was playing deep center field, warning track center field, and you just didn't see that kind of splash. So yeah, it was tough. It was a sweet and sour.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go to the schedule real quick. So me and Amon, we've been covering the NFC North, and then we covered Cleveland yesterday, and all these teams have some pretty tough schedules. So starting out the Steelers season, you're at the Jets. Like, what a popcorn ready battle that's going to be.
Oh, I love it. Perfect.
And then back at home, well, you're at home against Seattle. Then you go to New England in week 3. Week 4, you go across the pond in Dublin to play Minnesota. You hit the bye. Then you face Cleveland at home, at Cincinnati on a Thursday night, back at home against Green Bay, Indianapolis, at the Chargers on a Sunday night game, back at home against Cincinnati, at Chicago, back at home against Buffalo, at Baltimore, yikes, on against Miami on a Monday night, at Detroit, at Cleveland, and then finish it off against Baltimore. What you guys think about this schedule right here?
Good God, bro. Woo.
Hey, look how many AFC North opponents games there are in the second half of the season again. One of my all-time pet peeves of the way the NFL does their scheduling. At least last year it was more balanced out, half in the first, all the teams in the first half of the season, and then you played them again in the second half of the season. But man, yeah, we've been getting tough draws for a couple years, even back to COVID. Man, you guys remember all that with the Ravens, and that game got postponed and moved, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, my gosh, yeah, I don't know. So, what are you looking for, Larry? You looking for a number? What do you think, man?
We'll come with the number later on, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on this tough juggernaut of a schedule right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's very Steeler friendly.
Yeah, right here, right starting November 9th, right? Listen to this. I'm gonna repeat this again. You got Chargers, Bengals. So you got Herbert, Joe Burrow. No telling what Ben Johnson's gonna do with Caleb Williams. And then you got the MVP of the league. Oh, and then you got the 2-time MVP. Then you got Tua, and then you got Jared Goff, and then you got Lamar again. Like,
yeah, I mean, that is a tough one to end the season. I mean, when you got 4 teams out of 6 to end the season that are all really tough opponents. I mean, our schedule, I think, starts off a little bit easier because we play the 5-win Jets, a couple of teams with unproven quarterbacks still. But as we get deeper in the season, when the games are going to matter, we get these ridiculously hard teams because the NFL knows we'll probably be 7-7, near mid 500 to end the season every year. So they give us all those games because they want the ratings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys probably going to have one of those. I don't know if it's going to be Brown Steelers, or Raven Steelers. One of those AFC North games is going to be on a Saturday, like religiously for the Steelers. It never fails. Like I've never
right.
like the past like 5 years, the Steelers have always had a Saturday game in the division, which is crazy. So I'm looking at probably it's not going to be the Ravens and Steelers. I know that's not probably Brown Steelers. And like I said, we did the Browns yesterday. We don't know how competitive they're going to be, but it's always a division game. So you're going to get the best of, the best version of Cleveland at that point in the season. Will they have something to be playing for? Probably not. But, they're going to be trying to play spoiler for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they're
absolutely.
to the playoffs. So.
Yeah.
Those divisional games are always tough. And they still have Myles Garrett, a couple of defensive players that can wreck your game if you're not careful against them.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
One of the toughest divisions in football, I would think, right now. Close to it. They didn't give Steelers much love last year, but it's always when they get together, man, throw the book out. It's knocked down.
I think the NFL is low key rooting for Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, you go to the Jets in Week 1, you got a chance to stick it to him, and then you got Green Bay on a Sunday night, got a chance to stick it to them too. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is definitely drama built into that. I've been saying that NFL knows what they're doing when they put that. We've got this matchup, and that guy used to play for there, and now he's like, is this a revenge game? And oh man, it's fun to watch that.
That's funny. Rodgers was saying he was gonna play against the Bears on the road of a team he was gonna sign with. So I'm really excited to see what he can do against the Bears with the Steelers.
Well, real quick, what's your thoughts on the running game situation? I know you lost Najee Harris. You still have Jalen Warren, but you also drafted Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. How big of a contribution? Oh, and Kenneth Gainwell as well. How big of a contribution do you think that the new running backs in Caleb Johnson and Kenneth Gainwell? How big of a contribution do you guys think they can make to this team?
Well, in terms of reps, I think Jalen Warren's probably going to get at least 50%. I mean, they gave him the RFA tender, which is over $5 million. They like him. I mean, he was a good player. He had 1,000 yards before last year. He was another one of those guys who just had a lost year because of injury. And then the other two guys, Caleb's going to be good. He's going to replace Najee. He's more of that power back what Najee was. He'll probably get, 30, 35%. And then Kenneth Gainwell, who's a good scat bat, he'll probably get the last, 20, 50%, 15%.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty solid backfield now. Losing Najee was kind of like losing Minka in a way. I mean, there was, with Najee, you got what you saw, and he's going to get a few yards early in the game. I mean, there were so many times though that we needed 1 yard and we didn't get it. So, there's still that discussion: is a 1,000-yard rusher still like elite? Or with the number of games now, is it more like 1,200, 1,400 yards becomes an elite running back?
1,000 yards just doesn't seem the same anymore.
Doesn't seem to be as big a deal, right?
Yeah, not in a 17-game season nowadays.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it was tough to lose him. He was a good player. He spoke out. He did speak out about running back position being underpaid. But other than that, I mean, he was always in his place and he was a good teammate. So yeah, tough to miss a guy like that too.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. He already got replaced by the Broncos. They already drafted his replacement. Drafted Amari Hampton the first round, I think.
Wonder if he'll be more careful with fireworks next July 4th, though.
Yeah, all together. You guys are too valuable to a $1 trillion organization, a league, to be playing with fireworks, especially near your face, during the holidays. I think JPP 10 years ago, you thought you would have been like, but I guess not, but yeah, man, back to, Najee Harris, he definitely was serviceable with Pittsburgh. I definitely thought he ran hard, in between tackles. He's going to, do what he can do. But I have a lot more hopes of Najee coming out of Alabama because, how Nick Saban used him, and he was a great, receiving threat for Nick Saban in Alabama. I'm not sure how much of a, was he still in that same tier when he got to Pittsburgh? You guys know more better than I do. But I feel like there was another level that Najee could hit in Pittsburgh. I just felt like he never got there for what sort of, whatever the reason may be. What do you guys think about, what I just said about Najee?
I'll take this one. I'll take this one. Yeah, that's because most of them were thrown in the backfield.
Was it 2 yards behind the line? All right, Najee, get 12 yards.
Thrown past the line of scrimmage. I don't know. But, yeah, those didn't seem to work out too well for him. We needed to get him on the other side of the line.
Yeah.
But, that was tough, though. But, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to see more of that.
Yeah.
More screens.
Would have liked to see more of that. I mean, he just lacked that explosiveness or that third gear, like you said, and he lacked that vision too. That's why he didn't turn out as good as we thought he would be.
Well, interestingly enough, while we're on that subject, he early on in the season, he was a beast, man. He was running hard. There was a lot of pressure coming out of camp, and a lot of pressure from the fans. Why isn't Jaylen Warren getting the ball more? And so he was running with a purpose early on, and I'm not sure it kind of tapered off and started to try to do the Le'Veon Bell thing and kind of be patient behind the blockers, but that wasn't happening. He wasn't getting the kind of blockers that Le'Veon Bell did either. So, it was tough to watch that side of it.
Well, I remember it was 1 3-game stretch. He had like 100 yards plus against some of the worst D lines in the league. So he did kind of stat pad his way to 1,000 yards.
That Steelers run game averaged 4.1 yards per carry last season. Only teams that was worse than them were the Chiefs. And guess who, Amon?
No.
But guess what, though? That's going to change. It's about to change.
I'm actually scared now.
It's definitely about to change.
All right, we're gonna get into our last segment, and it's called More or Less. And I'm gonna list 5 players from last year and list some of their stats. And you tell me will they get more or will they get less from what they did last year. So Jaylen Warren, 511 yards rushing last year. He had 1 touchdown. Oh, in terms of yards, does Jaylen Warren get more or less than 511?
I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to easily break that. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get 1,000 yards this year.
I agree.
Yeah, he's going to be our starting back. So, especially with Najee gone, he's going to be the main guy in this.
He'll be close to 1,000, if not over. If there's
no,
he
stays healthy. Healthy's the one thing.
Calvin Austin, 36 catches, 548 yards with 4 touchdowns. That was all career highs for him last year as well. Does he get more or less?
I mean, probably more. I mean, Rodgers is more consistent. That's what I'll say about him. I mean, you might have, he might be a top 20 quarterback only, but at least Rodgers brings a stable floor to the offense. I think Calvin will at least get 500-ish yards. I mean, that's pretty easy to hit.
Yeah, I think his catch number will increase as well, too, once they develop a rapport with Aaron Rodgers. And with his speed, I think Aaron will appreciate that and get him the ball. So, yeah, I would say over in both.
To me, I remember when Rodgers had MVS in his offense. He had pretty good connection. Calvin will probably play a similar role.
Alex Highsmith, 45 tackles and 6 sacks. I know he missed a few games last year. He only played 11. But does he get more or less than 6 sacks?
I mean, probably over that. I mean, he's good when he had double-digit sacks. I think the year before that. So if he can just a lot of these guys you're mentioning, it's mainly can they stay healthy, and they'll probably hit these.
Yeah, it's a good point, producer. Yeah, I'd have to say over on that too. I mean, he's just a monster. With TJ Watt on the other side, that focuses a lot of love over there. So, they kind of lean to help that side a little bit. And so he'll get his breaks.
Yeah.
no doubt. So I think it'll be solid.
Speaking of TJ Watt, 11 and a half sacks last year. Does he get more or less?
He's gonna get 20 or more, right? 20 or more.
Got a chance to break the record?
Yeah, he'll break the record this year.
I don't know, man. All this season stuff has me a little worried about it. I mean, I'm nervous about signing big money long term, but on the same token, like when he's not playing, we'd lose. So, let's go. Put me down as over, Larry.
Yeah, me too.
All right, and my last one, looking for DK Metcalf. I know he wasn't with the Steelers last year, but clearly I can't find his stats from last year.
Yeah, he was on Seattle.
992 yards last year off 66 catches. Does he get more or less than 992?
All right, so that contract, what did they give him? 3 years? Was it 3 years something?
Yeah, it's like 32, 33-ish in that range.
So if he don't clear 90, 100 catches, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So automatically, I'm gonna say more. You have to, like, you trade a second round pick for him, then you give him what, 3 years? Was it one? I don't know the number.
130 maybe.
130, maybe 130, 140.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I thought it was 150.
3 years, 150. I'm sorry, 3 years, 150.
Right.
So if you don't clear 100 and be in that 13, 12, 13, 1,400 yards, then what are we doing? So I'm going to say up for everything. It has to be, because you guys been working out at UCLA all summer, and hey, I love, little love fest, and I love this guy. You have to. It's just, we know how the Steelers fans are. They not going to be waving those towels in the middle of December, cold, for you to be out there with 66 catches, 992 yards, playing like in Northwest. It's just not going to happen. So I'm gonna say up for more for everything. It just has to. If he doesn't have more than what he had last year, we need to have an emergency pod and add the Steelers Round podcast back on the day after the season. Something totally went wrong. Like Mason Rudolph has to be playing, and yes, so I'm gonna say more for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here?
All right.
Why did
I'm surprised DK even had under 1,000 yards. Well, what happened with Seattle last year?
Oh yeah, the interior of the offensive line. Trust me, that's exactly what happened. But that's another story for another day for sure.
So, what are your guys' projections before we close it out? What are you guys' projections for this team? So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna say, like, this is a roster that is built to contend for a Super Bowl.
Wow.
Well, being serious, I mean, you look at the O-line depth, you look at the D-line. I mean, of course, you got guys that can get injured and things like that. But I'm really seeing Super Bowl as like their ceiling, especially if Aaron Rodgers can come in and play behind a better line than what he did last year. I know he's going on his last season, but who knows? What do you guys think? What are your projections for this team?
Boy, that's such a tough one, man, because I work at the local hardware store here, and I see Steeler fans come in. I'm like, what do you think? And then, like, first thing they're like is, pretty much sums it up. I don't really know yet. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, there's, you look at it one way, it's like that paint on the car that no matter how the light hits it, it changes color. But no matter, like, you look at it one way and it's like they're going all in, and then you look at it another way and it's like, well, this is Arthur Smith's second season. Brand new quarterback in the house again, whole upset in the team. Like, how do you put all those pieces back together again? And then there's the Tomlin thing. I mean, he's getting near the end. If you don't agree with me about this year, I mean, he's getting near the end. Could this be the first losing season? I mean, there's a lot of ponderance in where they're heading. So I don't know. I'm middle line on this team. I can't weigh.
Mm-hmm. Well, JT, there's 3 guarantees.
I don't know if we're going to go 12-5 or 5-12.
Come on, JT. There's no guarantees in life except for death, taxes, and the Steelers going over 500.
Yeah. Well, if I was to guess, I would have to say 8-9 in this first season.
Really? Oh, come on, JT.
Yeah.
I probably was going 11-6.
You said 11-6?
Yeah, a little bit more optimistic. I'm hoping all these pieces can come together and everything works out. I mean, Rodgers can be serviceable better than what he was with the Jets, where honestly it was a pretty bad situation where their O-line was bad at times. I mean, their left tackle was getting beat. He didn't have good weapons until they traded for Devontae Adams, and the coaches weren't doing him any favors, so you're hoping it can be a better situation here. And Steelers will get to 9 wins just because of their defense alone, so I think adding Rodgers adds a couple more wins on. And, we'll see how they do in the playoffs. I mean, maybe it's just tough, man, to get over the Mahomes and the Allens and Lamar Jacksons of the world. You have to go through that gauntlet playoff to be a contender like that.
Yeah, it used to be Tom Brady.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna say, Larry, to answer your question, I'm gonna be around right where Patrick is. I'm gonna say he said 11. I'm gonna say 10. I'm gonna say 10 wins. I think that'll be a decent season. Sneak into the playoffs, which is possible. Who knows what the Bengals are going to be? We already know what the Browns are going to be. The Ravens, they're going to be in there. They're always in there. They just can't get over the hump. But for the 10 wins for me, it can be 10 wins. It can be like JT said, it can be 5 wins. It all boils down for a couple things for me. The offensive line with Fatanu and Broderick Jones, can they take the steps? Can they be healthy? And Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. He can't take too much more of a beating at that age. You know what I mean? Everybody want to play till they're 45 and whatever the case may be. But we all know here in this podcast right here that Father Time is undefeated. One wrong move and your season's over with. And
we taking 4 snaps like we did.
Right, like he did with the Jets a couple of seasons ago towards Achilles, 4 snaps in on Monday Night Football, and there goes the Jets season. And then for me, you got is TJ Watt. He's hitting that 30-year-old mark. Is he going to slow down a little bit? Which is, being that he's a Watt, I doubt he slows down. And, you got the secondary is, up there in age. Jalen Ramsey is a 30-year. Darius Slay's 34, 35. The defense is a little older. They definitely got a little better. The defense is a little older. Cameron Hayward, he's been playing since I was in high school. I feel like this is 20th year in the league, and he's still playing, So those are a couple of things that's going to I'm going to be looking out for how fast does DK and Rodgers gel with this new offense, and how much of Arthur Smith input is Aaron Rodgers going to take. Because we all know how Aaron Rodgers is. He's a quote unquote diva. He's going to do his thing. I know more than you do. How much is he going to listen to Arthur Smith being in, going to this his second year in Pittsburgh? So those are a lot of contributing key factors. But, as Patrick said, the defense alone will give you 9 wins for sure. So I'm going to say 10. I'm going to say 10 and, whatever the losing number is. And I think they, either they sneak into the playoffs, or they either, be there at the last couple of season games and fighting to get one of those wildcard spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're definitely right. We brought in a lot of mercenaries who are older, hoping they can gel together and give us a good team.
Yeah, I'm right there too. I would say 10, 11, 12 wins, and who knows what happens when you get into the playoffs. But like Amon said, with the offensive line, especially with everybody, you got to stay healthy. So
yeah, and got to be playing well in December and healthy, no doubt.
Absolutely. It's like what we said, and just us listening for this last hour that we've been on. We said if this person's healthy, if Broderick Jones can come back from his elbow, if Fatano knee holds up, if Slay he doesn't have any nicks, if Ramsey doesn't have any nicks, all these guys that we've named that's been in the league for a while now. They've had injuries and they've been lingering injuries, and like Patrick said, getting all these mercenaries on one team, the worst thing that can happen is injuries, and then how does your depth look behind those guys? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the scary thing for me, from really taking Pittsburgh to the next level in that upper echelon of competing for that Super Bowl. So that's injuries and everything clicking with Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers. Those are going to be the key things for me.
Yeah, to me, that's too many question marks to declare him a contender for me personally.
All right.
Well, and that's my concern too. Is how's Arthur Smith going to put these puzzle pieces together and form a winning team? And it's a big challenge, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think that just about does it. I think we touched every corner of the offense and defense and everything.
You did well. You did well. You covered it all.
Thank you. Any final thoughts from you guys?
No, man. Appreciate you having us on. Share with your listeners as well too. We're Steelers Realm Podcast, and we'd love to have you guys on our show too. If you ever feel like popping on, always looking forward to some comments. You guys are on top of it, know your stuff, and appreciate being on, man. It's good to meet you guys.
Absolutely, likewise.
Yeah, happy to have us. Yeah, thanks for having us on. Really enjoyed talking to you guys. You guys know a lot about football, more than I do.
Oh man, you guys are great, man. So if there's not anything else, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, follow the Steelers Realm Podcast on YouTube, on Instagram, Game Time Sports Network on YouTube, Game Time 365 Sports on Instagram, Facebook. Hey man, we just out here just talking football, man, getting ready for the season. So until then, everybody.